and welcome back to another exciting episode of Extra Features Interview. I made two young ladies get up very early, and I apologize, but EST time's a little bit earlier than yours. Their film, Wrap Me in a Sheet, I presume is currently just doing the short film festival, but go see it. So,
Absolutely.
I have with me today, if I could read this right, Britt, I didn't write your last name down, and Molly Muse.
Yeah,
That's
that would
right. Britt
be.
Harris.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Harris. Yeah, I never wrote that down. For some reason, I have HA, so I knew I screwed that up. Oh,
Oh,
well.
you did. You did give it the old college try. You got part of the way
I'm
there.
very good at that. So let's start at the beginning. Is this based on one of you two's real life? Or somebody you know?
It's kind of an
So,
experiment on like going off of a feeling. So Molly, I feel like I keep cutting off because the Zoom is a little lagged. Do you?
that's okay.
Okay.
It's it's kind of a dreamlike exploration of family trauma in general. So it was inspired by some true events that sent us off into this fictional world, um, where we're exploring like cruelty in family themes. So yeah, partially inspired by some real life events, but it's definitely a fictional story.
Another thing
Now,
that's cool is we got an opportunity to work with this really cool location in Washington State on the in the Pacific Northwest in the United States. It's called the Sou'wester Lodge. They have an artist residency there, and it's something we applied to and we're lucky enough to be a part of. So that was kind of like the impetus to make something. And this film like is very much centered around the location. So when we were writing it, we were like wanting the windswept, stormy, like Pacific coast to be its own character as well. So it kind of like makes everything darker and spooky. And so the themes get pretty dark as you continue through the film. And I think that's very much inspired by like the location. It's
okay.
a good backdrop for some spookiness.
Now, you said you applied for an artist residency. Is that easy to
Mm-hmm.
get? Is it free lodging? What do you get with that?
You get a discounted lodging rate at the Sou'wester for an extended period of time. So that allowed us to, like a budding production company. So at the moment, um, we're out of pocket. So we have to figure out ways to do everything as cheap as possible. So the artist residency allowed us to go and we shot a lot of it in the actual trailers. Sou'wester is a trailer park hotel. So we were able to use their location, and then it's also on the coast. So we were able to go out and use the state park, Cape Disappointment, which is beautiful coastland. So I don't know if it wasn't hard for us. We applied and we got accepted. I don't know how many people are rejected. But I know that Sou'wester is one of my favorite places in the world, and they have artists come through all of the time and they have their own trailer where they feature different artists' work. They have this like bus where they show films all the time. It's just like a really comfortable place to be. It feels like camping. I don't
Mm-hmm.
want to say glamping, but it's glamping.
Okay.
Oh,
Now,
she said
this
it.
did this help your writing process then? So you had no ideas before you got to this location then?
No, we had been to the location together before and knew that we wanted to shoot something there. So we got ourselves into the headspace of the place, knowing that that's where we were going to shoot. But we did come with a script, and it was a lot longer. I mean, the film that we made, we had a director's cut that was almost twice as long. That we ended up cutting a lot out just to get to the meat of it. Ultimately for the festivals.
Oh no, I want to know what I missed because I enjoyed what I saw. So, are we missing a lot of the prelude, like before we get to? Because I mean, the person's cooking at the beginning of the film. Now, do we
Right.
get a prelude before that? Maybe a flashback? I was thinking.
We
It's a great
considered adding
question.
a flashback later. There was not a prelude, but there was a lot more in the trailer. Um, there there was coffee service. There was a lot of stuff that was maybe a little too slow moving.
Yeah,
But there was
we
also a
reference.
little bit more story building before to give you more context, and we found that that wasn't actually not needed. But we were originally inspired by Old Joy. What's her name?
Kelly Reichardt.
Kelly Reichardt, excuse me. So we were kind of moving with a really slow, like feature length pacing initially, which we learned. This was our first short film, and we learned that that doesn't work very well. So for short film, so we ended up cutting out a lot of that and just like getting straight to the point, set up, punchline.
Okay. Now, the look of this thing, I thought it was a very 70s look at the beginning. Is that the look of the
Hmm.
trailer? Or is that what you guys were actually looking for? Maybe the thing is that old. This is a 70s place because they have very paneling.
Mm.
You just don't see it. I'm
Hmm.
old, so I remember these things. So it looked very much to me like an old cottage.
I love that. It was what the trailer looked like. And what's so cool about that is the place inspiring the story so much. And when we wrote it, we knew that we wanted it to be kind of ambiguous and suspended in time. Like, is this the 90s? Is this now? Is it earlier? Is it in the middle? Like, I like that it's not really pinpointed into a specific era, but I think it could be many different ones. So I love that you had that instinct initially. But yeah, that was how the trailer looked, which is amazing. It's like you walk into a place like this and it's like already production design. It's already looking amazing. It's already beautiful. So it's cool. Because we didn't know exactly what we'd get when we got there, but we knew that it was going to be incredible. Because as Molly said, we'd been there before and like everything is just so visually interesting and beautiful. And so I'm glad we got the trailer we got because I really like the way it looks.
Okay, you
Yeah, I
start
think we
off
want
with.
to go ahead. Go ahead.
No, go, you go. I can wait.
Yeah, I think we try and be it's a dream basically. So the time is not easy to pin down. It could be a lot of different time periods. So 70s, sure, it could be now. Our next film also, I think we try and do the same thing. Our next film takes place in a ghost town. So it's like any time within the past. And yeah, I love
Mhm.
timeless.
Okay. You have a silver box at the beginning. Was that in the trailer or did you bring that with you? Because you're telling me you didn't have some idea what you were doing.
We brought that with us. We did have a finished script by the time we went there, so we knew what we were coming with. So that is a music box. Originally, we were going to call it Heirloom, and it's the music box kind of signifies family trauma passed down from generation to generation, and we ultimately reject passing it on at the end. Um, so yeah, it's an actual heirloom of mine that was given to me by my aunt, and I plan to give to my niece, who the film opens on my niece,
Mhm.
who's playing young Britt. They look really similar. um,
Okay, Britt, your hairstyle, was that worked on a few times to get that kind of frazzled look, I want to say, and depressed look?
Oh, how did I work on my depressed look?
Well, you get your hair
You
right.
know,
Looks like you played with it a bit. Because you look nothing
I
like that
just
now.
oh, but I'm such a chameleon. Just drawn from that old life experience. No, I don't know. It's I acting is definitely my first love, and I love exploring like all those different and often dark places we go as humans. And I don't know. A lot of it is just, I feel like when Molly and I work together, like it's so easy for us to drop into like anything and she'll be my eyes and I'll be her eyes. So as far as like us wanting to appear a certain way visually and also be coached from an acting perspective, which we both can do to each other, it works really well. We have a shorthand. We've been working together for over a decade. So I feel like just us as a creative team, like Molly always helps me get to where I would need to be from that perspective. So other than that, I have no idea. Just kind of happens.
Okay, so since you guys have worked together for so long, is the little kid voice something you guys use regularly to play with each other? Or is that just used for the film?
Which part?
You guys at one point make each other laugh while you're making the egg.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So we wanted to have, since we're sisters in the film, we wanted that to be like a kind of game that we'd play since we were little kids that Molly, as the older sister in the film, would do to make me feel better as the younger, more sensitive one who maybe got the brunt of some of the stuff growing up. So yeah, we kind of like played with some different options of like what that could be like together. And that one felt right. But yeah, just a game. Did you want to?
It's a coping mechanism for both of them. They're like, they have this this music box that's kind of tormented them their whole lives, and they want to make light of it. And in the film, I think this is inspired by, some things with maybe my sisters, where we will joke about something to make light of it, and sometimes it's fine and it's fun, and then sometimes you accidentally say a little bit too much and it touches a nerve, and then all of a sudden you're in tears about it. And so it was like showing that moment where you try and play, but it's kind of too painful. But they try and get themselves through it with humor.
This may be a weird question. How many eggs were burned in that scene?
I brought a dozen eggs. I have chickens. So that was one of the beautiful shots we had to cut. It was hard to see it go, was this shot of this beautiful carton of very colorful eggs. So yeah, we went through the whole carton, I think. Maybe 10 eggs.
Also,
yeah.
I hate eggs. Like, it's the only food on this planet. Like, I have like a gag reflex to it. And I was like, do not feed me the eggs. You nothing, please. Nothing with eggs. But yeah, it's fun. We have a lot of jokes about the eggs. And we did, the fire alarm was real. We set the fire alarm off. And we played through that. We're like, oh no.
So why would you use eggs if you have a gag reflex to eggs?
Because we love a challenge. Because why not? I don't know. It seemed right in the script, and then I like forgot that. I mean, I didn't forget, but I'm like, oh man, I hate eggs. We're doing eggs. Guess we're doing eggs. It was fine.
Okay, now you leave there and you go out of the trailer into a small town. Now, how far is the town from where you're shooting?
It's like right in town. So this is like Long Beach, Washington. It's very beachy, relaxed, fun town. People are having ice cream cones. We were lucky enough there's a scene in a carnival that's broken down that they actually took everything out like right after we shot it. So we just happened to get there right before they removed all of the equipment. But yeah, it's right inside of Long Beach.
Okay, now, since normally, I mean, you shoot on a mini putt course, but I noticed there's very few background actors. So were you shooting while the course is actually open, or first thing in the morning, or you just had to wait for your shot?
It was open and we had to wait for our shot. That was the very first thing we did when we got there. We met the DP and sound at the golf course and just played mini golf as our characters.
So how was that? Did people come over and bug you because you're in such an open space at this point?
I think people get really curious, yeah, especially because this was a small coastal town in Washington. A lot of people were asking us what we were doing, and it was fun. We'll just talk to them about it, maybe stop what we're doing, because it's really nice that so many of these places let us film there. So we wanted to take the time to talk to people there. But it was nice. Like the restaurant that we filmed in, the golf part, the mini golf and go-karts. That's what I was looking for. All those places were super nice. We went and just asked them if we could shoot there, and they let us. But for people going and playing through, we just shot around them for the most part.
We did get permission beforehand, so they knew that we were coming. So everybody knew that. And every young person wants to know if it's going to be on YouTube. And I learned a long time ago from working as a PA that if you want people to leave you alone, you tell them that you're shooting a mayonnaise commercial. So we got to use that line a few times.
Such a good one.
A mayonnaise commercial on a
people are like, oh, okay.
It's a high concept mayonnaise commercial.
It's very high concept. How was go-karts? Because you really only use that one shot. Looks like a stagnant camera shot, just shooting down. Did you try other shots on the go-karts and it was too difficult? Because I mean, it's hard to shoot go-karts. I agree, because they're moving quickly and you're doing stuff.
Oh yeah. we loved that bit, but it was hard to find something that worked. And sometimes later you come home and you're like, oh, that's not. Also, that was one of the first things we shot as well. So I think we're kind of just warming up to into a lot of things. But I'm happy we did get to use something because it's you can't not be having fun at a go kart.
Yeah, but
track.
ultimately we didn't need any of the other shots, right? Like just that one moment, the shot that we kept was just my characters helping her out of a go-kart, and you're like, oh, okay. And they did go-karts, and it's your brain fills in for you. So we felt good with just the one. The point is they're out, they're trying to lift each other up from whatever hard time. You're not sure what exactly is going on with them. But they're out like ripping it up.
That's something we were learning, what Molly said earlier too, about having a longer film is twice as long. We had, more footage from everything in there and like really playing and experimenting with things. And I really enjoyed that process, and we really liked that cut as well. But then learning like, okay, so what exactly do we need to move this along? Like, what does the audience need? And just like making it specific to a short film format. So it's interesting. It's like we always say, you make the film like 3 times, you write it, you shoot it, and then in post-production, when you're editing it, you're like, well, now I'm really making the film. Now I'm really like making sure the story is the most effective or whatnot. So yeah.
How can we be efficient storytellers?
Good luck on that one.
For real. It's not easy.
That is very hard. Did you want food to be a constant theme throughout the picture?
No, I don't think so. The eggs exist to show Taylor's mental state, basically.
But then you have ice cream.
Then we do have ice cream. Yep, and we eat burgers as well.
Yep. See, that's what I'm saying. I'm constantly noting all the food. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to ask.
That's funny. Yeah, for those, it's like revisiting events from our childhood because in the story we like outline for ourselves, it's like we'd go to this coastal town almost every summer growing up, and it was kind of our happy place. So we're going there and we're hitting up all the old stops. We're going to get the favorite ice cream from the favorite shop, the favorite burger, going to the favorite carnival place that's now defunct. So a lot of those activities did involve food, which I guess would make sense for kids. They want the treats, they want the special things. So that's how I guess we got all that. Ended up getting all the food in there. Never thought about that before. There is a lot of eating in 17 minutes. Yeah.
Okay, as we're moving along, and you two were very busy during this shoot, how many people did it take to build a giant hole on a beach?
No, you're looking at the manpower right here.
No way. That must have taken you all day.
It did. And we filmed a lot of it. We filmed probably almost all of it. We had to do it twice also. We had to go back and reshoot something. And that morning we are just like, one of us to the other was like, we're going to have to do the whole today. We didn't get blah, blah, blah. And we were like, no, oh God. It's another thing about this. Yeah. Oh, yes.
Twice. You had to.
Yeah.
Did you not think of having some friends to join you?
Oh, yeah. But it's, it's complicated. Expensive. Friends cost money. We're doing this as light a crew and a cast as possible. But yeah, it was I am amazed we did that. But another constraint we had is we had 5 days on that property. So we had to, learning that we had to go back out and dig another hole was like very very scary. We're also working with natural light for the whole process. So it's like we were really, really up against it a few times there. Okay. So yeah, it's just interesting.
I was about to get you on the next step. During the shooting, I do notice you start with a light hole. It's very light at the beginning. And then at the end of the shot, it's very dark. So as a viewer, am I assuming that you have been there all day or just assuming that you couldn't fix it in the editing?
That we've been there all day.
Okay, I'll let you have that, but I don't know. But I wasn't sure. I'm like, they've been there for a while. I know that.
Well, if you're a filmmaker, you may to dig a hole, and that actually was real. So we did actually dig a hole, and by the time we had dug the hole, the weather had changed. And on the coast, that does happen. It was in and out, all kinds of weather. Yeah. So it doesn't bother me that the weather changes because that is what happens, and it did take us that long. So it's realistic. Does it read Does it read that way when you watch it? It sounds like maybe it doesn't, but
Okay,
Yeah.
now how is putting the camera in the hole to do the shot up?
oh yeah, that was great. That was a GoPro shot, wrapped
Okay,
in cellophane.
Mhm.
Wrap it in cellophane, bury it.
I love that shot. That was fun to do. And we like every time we shot it, we did it in like one dirt throw, two dirt throw, and it would cover. It felt like so exciting and cinematic. We'd watch it back and we're like, whoa, we did it, we nailed it. Because it was kind of hard to aim at it, but I love that
And
shot.
then
It
you
was
got
really
to
fun.
get back into the hole and
Oh
find the
yeah.
GoPro, get out, put the GoPro back with new cellophane.
Yeah.
It's a,
so did you have to fill in the hole again?
yeah,
Yes.
but yeah, it's dangerous to leave a huge hole
Well, I know that,
like
but
that.
you never
So
know. You might come back the next day and film again. So I was wondering if the hole stayed.
it would have
Yeah.
been great if we left the hole, but we did not. We were feeling like we should be responsible and put it how we found it. So we did fill it back in twice.
Okay. And we get to the end of this thing. We're in a certain scene and you show a lot of yourselves. I was kind of shocked by this.
Hmm.
Was
Yeah.
that planned or is that spontaneous? Or, I mean, I understand. I thought it was more like a cleanse for the movie. You're
That's
cleansing
exactly
yourself.
it.
Is that the way I took it right?
Hmm.
Yeah,
Exactly.
absolutely. And then that part we didn't plan to have at the end initially. We had initially imagined the sauna as a part of the like enjoying the town. And then later came to decide that it belongs at the end because of what they've been through and the shedding of that skin and starting over, and they're having this, they've rejected the family trauma chain, and they are starting fresh. So that's what that means to us.
I like to think of it as like a coda. It's like, the film ends in that very like cinematic, dramatic moment that we were talking about with the GoPro. And then seems like it's over. And then there's a little coda at the end to kind of show. I like that it's ambiguous too. At least I hope that it's ambiguous in ways for the end, because it's like they're now starting their lives for themselves. We don't know exactly what that's going to look like. We don't know what the effects would be from the event that just happened, or if it's for sure in the past. But I do like that there is like a very literal and metaphorical cleansing, and the audience can decide what they think that is.
Okay. Now, do you tell people this is coming ahead of time? I'm more thinking about your family, or you just like it to be a little surprise?
Nah.
Um, yeah, normally it's a surprise unless it feels like somebody needs to know. And this is an area where, I mean, the film was a lot longer initially. So I think, now this scene to me maybe stands out in a way that it didn't in the longer version.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I mean, there is some discomfort with nudity sometimes. There are people that I am probably not going to specifically invite because they might feel a certain way about it. But I'm not ashamed of it. I'm proud of what we made, and I think that it adds to the film. And I think like the general population at large, whoever comes to see it, doesn't know us personally. Um, it'll hit them differently.
Okay. Music. There is subtle hints of music throughout the film. And I
Mm-hmm.
find you guys are very trying to hide it. Like it's never too loud.
Really?
I didn't feel it
Oh.
was standing out. So I was
Mm.
trying to feel, is it just there just to put me in a mood? Like I felt it more like white noise most of the time throughout the
Interesting.
film.
Yeah, our collaborator Kevin, um, he wrote this incredible score for the film. That's much longer because he wrote for like a twice as long film. We didn't get to use everything, but one thing we talked about with him is like being inspired by the place and the vibe of like the gray, spooky, beautiful, powerful Pacific Northwest. And I think he really leaned into that. Like there's a lot of synths. There's a lot of like boom, like if you feel it in your bones if you're in the cinema turned way up kind of feelings. And then he has some like really sweeping, beautiful score elements during moments of lift or moments of like processing, which I love. And then we wanted to also make like a motif with the music box theme, which is something that I wrote and threw in there. So that wasn't like, something that the actual music box played, but Kevin also took that motif and built it into his score. So like if you go back and watch again or listen again, you'll hear like the do 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 do, which I personally love because maybe even on a subconscious level, it's like kind of seeping through everything. But I do like that no one element is like overpowering the others with design. And yeah, I am like a huge fan of the score of this film. And I wish I could just like listen to it all back to back as its own thing, which yeah, I love it.
Okay, this is the fun part of the show that if you haven't prepped, you're out of luck. Too bad. I have 3 fun questions for you.
Okay.
Everybody comes on, gets the same first question the first time they come. So I need both of yours favorite film.
Portrait of a Lady on Fire by Celine Sciamma.
Oh, one film, wonderful,
So
underrated film.
I couldn't agree more. It's a masterpiece. It's like
Absolutely
the
agree.
only film I've ever seen where I'm like, it's perfect. It's perfect. I
I
saw
will
it
give you that.
like 4 times in the theater.
Wow, and that was a hard film to see.
Yeah.
It didn't get much play up here.
Oh, really? Yeah, that's one amazing thing about living here is like even limited release stuff. It's like I can go to there's a really great independent cinema near my house, and that's where I watch. Like they had a run, I think, of like 3 or 4 weeks, and I was just there every week watching it. It was such a treat. Yeah. So that's mine.
I'm gonna go Princess Bride. I think that movie is also perfect. It's like fluffy popcorn, and but I love it every time. I think that it's perfectly made
and easily quotable. Lots of quotes.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I love the comedy.
Number 2, your favorite on-set meal, or it could be after the film. Like maybe you went for dinner, maybe breakfast, lunch. I mean, I know you're independent, so you got to eat sometimes.
It's always pizza for me. It's just always pizza. I could eat pizza at any moment, at any time. I prefer to eat it after the shoot because it's just better. But pizza for all the
way. Also pasta. We go pretty Italian. Britt and I work together a lot, and we both know that something we can always eat is pizza or pasta. We had a delicious pasta meal with wine, some Alfredo, and I will remember that forever.
Okay, this one may be an easy question for both of you, since I can tell you guys are Kelly Reichardt, you know what I mean? Reichardt enthusiasts, because I definitely see that in this film, because I do know what Kelly Reichardt is. Seen a few of her films. Do you both have the same favorite film, or do you want to give out different films?
I actually have not made my way through her whole catalog yet. And she is like one of the filmmakers who I've instantly loved. And I'm like, I need to go all the way through the catalog. So I'm not sure what my favorite is quite yet, but we all were very like taken with Old Joy. And it was not something we had watched until we knew we were shooting this. So that is just like always kind of stuck in there. But I'm not sure what my actual favorite is yet. I'm still forming an opinion on that. We'll say Old Joy is a placeholder.
Yeah, I'm with you. I haven't seen all of them either. I've watched also a collection of her short films, which were really lovely. And she nails she has a very specific style and feeling throughout that I'm very fond of.
Well, I want to thank you now for your time. Is there anything you want to pimp out? Tell people where to find. This is an awesome time to do it.
Awesome. Yeah, we on all the social medias, we're at Hey Paper Palace, which is our production company, Paper Palace Productions. And we're hoping that in the next year or so, this will be available to watch in a more public way. Right now, Rat Mina Sheet is in the film festival circuit.
So
yeah, we are premiering. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I'm just going to make a joke.
We're premiering at the Damn Short Film Festival world premiere in Boulder City, Nevada in February. And then we'll be at the First Glance Film Festival in LA in March.
My question is, we have a mayonnaise ad before it goes on YouTube is what it really needs. Whether you shoot one or not, I
Well
think you need
done.
that mayonnaise ad.
Genius.
Well, now we're gonna have to because you're counting on it. So
I am counting
we're
on
gonna
it,
have
and
to
so is
make that
everyone
happen.
else. Thank you for your
I'm like,
time and have
Simon's
a
gonna be really mad.
yes, that's it. I'm just gonna go in and listen to the score because it's so subtle. I kind of need it separated, so that's probably why.
Yeah.
Maybe using the mayonnaise commercial, so I'll hear it a little bit better.
All right. That's great feedback.
Thank you for your time and have a great day.
Thank you
you
so
very
much,
much.
Simon. Thanks for having us.
Bye.